What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for Solo Leveling Season 2. This is episode 13. With me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah, the season finale of Solo Leveling Season 2. Um, so, yeah, I thought the season ended off in a conclusive manner in comparison to Season 1, which kind of left us off in a cliffhanger. But this one ends off in a more conclusive manner, uh, leaving stuff like, hyped up for an upcoming Season 3, which as of right now, there's no announcement for Season 3, but there's potentially going to be. But but the news what I heard right now is any news of season 3 of Solo Leveling will be put on hold because A1 Pictures is currently working on another project at this moment.
Yeah, I think A1 works on multiple different projects at the same time usually, but this episode is mainly I guess serves as mostly like an epilogue to the Jeju Island arc.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of surprised, like considering how much it seems like the arc was hyped up. I mean, even in season 1, I was kind of surprised. Like I was thinking it was going to be like a longer arc, but it seems like it only like lasted like 3 episodes.
I think it was maybe about
3 or 4 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, it felt fairly short. And I mean, I was thinking it was going to be like a lot longer than that. Like maybe it was going to be like a full season or something, but it wasn't that at all.
I mean, it feels like one of the more longer story arcs that we had, for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, I guess compared to the other ones, like, I mean, if you could really even call them story arcs, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so if you compare it to that, sure. But yeah, I mean, this basically, like, as we saw in the last episode, Cha Hae-in is currently like she's pretty much dying, and I was kind of wondering how Jinwoo was gonna try to save her. Considering he mentioned he couldn't like do the like shadow switching thing where he switches with one of his shadows, so he couldn't really like get her to help that way. So what he ends up doing is he ends up using his shadow extraction ability to extract the shadow of one of the, I forget his name, but
Byung-gu.
Yeah, and he comes back as a shadow to heal Cha Hae-in. And then, like, I guess right after he does that, Jinwoo decides to just let his
spirit rest.
Yeah, but the Jinwoo says that apparently his that's what he wanted to do. I'm not exactly sure, like, we don't see it happen, so I guess, but I mean,
so I do want to say something about this scene. Okay, in the manhwa, it actually takes Jinwoo 3 attempts to extract Byung-gu's shadow, because the reason why is like Byung-gu himself, like he was initially reluctant into wanting to become a shadow because of like his refusal to take part in any more battles because of his post PTSD and stuff. But Jinwoo manages to convince the spirit of Byung-gu to let him become a shadow in order to heal Cha Hae-in as a way to do one more last deed to help his friend. And of course we do get Byung-gu's friend, what was it, Baek Yoon-ho, like he was of course understandably shocked that Jinwoo has this kind of ability. Heck, everyone was shocked that that Jinwoo had this ability. I mean, Jinwoo didn't want the cameraman to really even see what he could really even do. Otherwise, like the whole world would be freaked out at what Jinwoo could really do with that kind of ability.
I thought I mean I feel like they honestly should have left that scene in the anime though. Like, I mean, I don't know why that was a scene that was cut. Like it honestly would have made things a little bit more interesting, but I guess maybe they had to cut it for time.
Yeah, it most likely for time. I mean, he just suddenly extracts his shadow just in one go, but it made more sense, like drama wise, and character wise, that that he would have initially had trouble to extract Byung-gu's shadow, not just because he was hard, that his level wasn't high. I mean, he's already like almost level 100 at this point. But it's just like Byung-gu's spirit is like, it has a will of its own and wanting to do in a specific way. But of course, with Yunho's like request, like he asked Jinwoo not to let his spirit take part in any more battles. Just due to the fact that he hates fighting. So Jinwoo agrees and then decides to release his spirit, for good this time.
Yeah. So of course the other hunters end up extracting Shaheen and getting off the island. Meanwhile, that they're trying to fight off the other ants, and the other ants aren't like just, I guess, dying because their leader is technically dead. And then we also see that Jinwoo is able to extract the shadow of the ant. He now calls it is it Beru? Yeah, Beru. And so now he has another like ridiculously powerful like shadow like fighting for him.
Yeah, apparently it's the strongest shadow now. Like he calls it a general class shadow. But what also is surprising that he's like the first shadow that can really talk to him.
Oh yeah. So I forgot about that. Yeah, so Beru is actually able to communicate with Jinwoo.
Yeah, and of course, he's pretty much like, and it's almost seems like he's grateful to Jinwoo for bringing him back, despite the fact that Jinwoo, like himself, said that he was the one who killed him in the first place. But Beru, like is saying he's grateful, to be revived as one of his shadows, and he'll pretty much like serve him till the ends of the earth, to help Jinwoo in his mission. So he uses Beru to pretty much exterminate the remaining ants that are just flying all around the place, including the ones that are like almost like invading the mainland of Korea as well.
Well, and then there is also another hunter that ends up taking some of them out that we haven't seen before, and I guess they don't give him a name yet, but I guess he's supposed to be important.
So he's actually an S rank hunter from China.
Yeah, I figured he was from China.
Yeah. I forgot what there was something else that was happening, but yeah, it's after Jinwoo and the others managed. Well, actually, no, Jinwoo like manages to exterminate pretty much all the remaining ants on the island. Pretty much the Knights Guild end up working as a cleanup crew to exterminate whatever remaining ants that might have been left alive, or they're just like just removing the corpses. Unfortunately, they come across like these two mysterious figures, which they don't reveal their names, but I will say that they are the monarchs that they're pretty much running things.
Yeah, because one of them looks like one of the shadows that Jinwoo has, but I don't know if that's what he's supposed to be. But
almost like one of, well, yeah, it's not really clear. Like I think what was it? I think one of them. I remember he's being called the Beast Monarch. I forgot the other monarch, unfortunately. But yeah, but they discuss like what's been going on in recent events, and they're potentially like talking about like about Jinwoo's involvement, and apparently they have some kind of plan for Jinwoo, but they don't reveal what it is yet.
Yeah, and then we also see that Jinwoo's father is watching them too.
Yeah, and apparently he somehow made it to the island as well, but we don't know what Jinwoo's dad is up to, like and like how, because we know like he was trapped in a gate for some time, but like we only get to see him like at in one episode, like easily defeating Huang Dongso in America before he somehow like got himself all the way over to Jeju Island.
Yeah. And then after that we kind of we cut back. We find out that Jinwoo he has plans to create his own guild.
Yeah.
And we kind of cut in between different characters and see what they're up to. Like, I'm not exactly sure. Like, what's his name? The Jinwoo's friend, like the guy from what was it Eugen Construction Company?
Oh yeah, Jinho.
Jinho, yeah, him and that one girl, like I guess they're working together on
Yeah,
with their guild.
it was that was Songhee, I think it is. Yeah,
Song,
Han
yeah,
Songhee. Yeah. So they're yeah. So Jinho agrees to like to find an office for for like an upcoming for like for their upcoming guild, and Songhee decides to uh I guess to sign herself up to become like one of their first members of the new guild. But as of right now, it seems like Junho has agreed to work some odd jobs with the Hunters Association for the time being.
and then we also see that Chahain is I guess she's inspired after seeing Jinwoo that she needs to get stronger and become as strong as he is, which is kind of funny to me considering, she's supposed to be like one of the best, like, hunters, I guess, in the country, but now she's the one who's aspiring to be like as strong as Jinwoo.
Yeah, and she said she wants to be strong enough to stand by his side. So,
Yeah.
and then of course, like the last time we see her, she's like, I guess she's training in a dojo, hopefully to get herself even stronger. But as to how she will get stronger, that's another question because she can't level up. She's already. I mean, even though like she's one of the strongest hunters in S rank, like the other ones, she has limitations. So I mean, we'll have to see where it goes for her. But it seems like she's going to be more determined to work alongside Jinwoo later down in the line.
Yeah, and then basically the season ends with Jinwoo going through a gate that initially seems to just be like I think it was like a B rank dungeon or B rank gate,
Yeah.
but then turns into a red gate and traps Jinwoo inside. And but then, of course, Jinwoo doesn't really have anything to worry about because he just has a massive army of shadows, including Beru. So he just unleashes all those shadows on these, the creatures surrounding him. So yeah, that's pretty much where we end things with season 2. I was maybe hoping for somewhat of a tease of what could season 3, but I guess the only kind of tease about that we get is the, like you said, like the monarchs that show up. But right now people who haven't read the manhwa aren't gonna know who these characters are. So
Yeah.
uh,
There's another thing that I want to point out, which was completely cut out from this epilogue, which I didn't think that they were even going to put it in there. There was supposed to be a scene with Jinwoo meeting up with members of the American Hunters Association, in which they're looking to recruit Jinwoo, for their service. Like if he agrees, like they'll give him a job as one of their lead hunters, and two, like they'll give him an American citizenship. But of course, like I'm pretty sure they'll put this in maybe in the next season. But yeah, it's a scene that was obviously cut out for obvious reasons.
yeah. Yeah, overall, like season 2, it's I guess in terms of like animation quality and all that, like it's definitely an improvement over season 1. I mean, in terms of like, I guess you'd say like the plot points it covers. I mean, it's the one that was, I guess, the most interesting was I guess maybe the Jeju arc, because we finally, I guess, have something that can potentially challenge Jinwoo, and it kind of does in that fight scene. But of course, Jinwoo just gets the upper hand pretty quick. So I don't know. I guess that was probably the most interesting thing about season 2. I mean, and it's, like I said, probably the best looking the series has ever been. And I mean, I did like the, what's her name, Essel, from the dungeon, I don't know.
The demon dungeon.
Yeah. But unfortunately, she just doesn't really get a lot of screen time. And I mean, I can see why people like her. It's just unfortunate. I mean, I feel like almost, I would have been fine if the anime like took some liberties here with the source material and maybe like gave her a little bit more to do. But it's kind of disappointing that she shows up and just doesn't really. She tags along with Jinwoo for a little bit, and I feel like it's also maybe a result of the anime just probably cutting out a lot from that particular part of the story too.
Yeah, they had to cut out a lot of content just to get to the Jeju arc in particular. And of course they did there are, like I mentioned before, like this last episode they cut out like certain scenes. Like they had to like cut a lot of time with the whole Byung-gu becoming a shadow thing, and then of course they cut out the scene which with Jinu meeting the American hunters at the American Hunters Association. But
Yeah.
I didn't think I didn't think that they were going to put it in there because it just wouldn't fit at this point in time with the story. It fits like with the next with most likely next season's story arc in which he will interact with members of the American Hunters Association.
Yeah, and I guess they'll have more interactions with him and that one character that was cut out
Yeah,
from the dungeon.
with Thomas Andre. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they do show his face again, and like Genu does hint that there are more, there are likely more threats, coming his way. I mean, we do know like what was it, the head of the Japanese Hunters Association. We know like he's likely going to be back again, and we know that Hwang Dong-so still has beef against Genu after killing his brother back in season 1.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this episode, though. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I give it an 8 out of 10. It's just like it's a good season. I say it's better than the first season. Like much more faster paced than the first season. It's just my only complaints is like how much content they ended up cutting. There were some that weren't necessary, but some think that I really thought that would have added a little bit more. Like they cut they ended up cutting out like 2 important characters. Like one of them, of course, Jinho's cousin, who's gonna end up playing a role helping establish their new guild, and then of course Thomas Andre, who's like the American hunter, which they ended up pretty much completely cutting his scene completely. I mean, they did show him off just a little bit, but they didn't give him any dialogue.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing they'll have to add in Jinho's cousin in the next season, considering he's important for establishing the guilds or setting up his, yeah.
Another interesting thing is like Song-yi never volunteered herself to become a member for their new guild in the manhwa. So it's going to be interesting, like, how they're going to fit her into the new guild.
Oh, so is the anime kind of like adding in more with that?
Yeah, the anime is taking a lot of liberties with the manhwa. So Song-hee, of course, like this is like this is an anime original thing in which she volunteers herself to become like one of their first members of the new guild.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see where they go with that. But yeah, guys, that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.